My name is Peter Westberg. I work as an equity analyst at Kalqyl, covering IMINT. With me today is the CEO of IMINT, Andreas Lifvendahl. Welcome, Andreas.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
On the 9-2, with a record-breaking 2021 behind you, I think it's fair to say that 2022 has started off in the right direction, given that you once again performed a new sales record, maintaining strong margins as well. Besides this, IMINT launched new functionalities for the Lifvendahl platform. Also, IMINT entered into new exciting agreements and collaborations. Andreas, can you start off by giving us a brief summary of the quarter?
I certainly can. I think you Peter, you did it very well as well in your intro. It was once again a record quarter. It was really good to see that the good trend from last year continued. I mean, there were gray clouds in the sky, especially with the China situation and the decline in domestic smartphone sales. But we managed to grow and, as you said, to keep good profit margins and added yet another few millions to our bank account, which is overall really healthy for us. So we're very happy that the year started off in the right direction with good tailwind.
So approximately, what was IMINT's market share of new sold smartphones in the quarter?
Somewhere between 15 and 20%. We don't get royalty reports from all our customers. Some of them are fixed fees, so we don't have exact numbers. So we do our best guesses, and somewhere just about north of 50 million devices were launched or sold to consumers in the first quarter, out of maybe 280 million or something like that. Different market research firms give different numbers, but we typically now, with our current customers and our penetration, are between 15 and 20% of all the smartphones sold.
And the geographical breakdown of your sales within smartphones, can you give us some more information on
that? To some extent, and it depends on how you mean with geographical breakdown. In terms of our customers, they are almost all Asian, with China being our biggest region, followed by Japan and Taiwan. But some of our customers are global brands, so they might have sales in Europe, Latin America, US, and so on. So Lifvendahl powered devices can be found in all places on the planet, but our invoices go mainly eastward.
So of the non-smartphone verticals, which do you see as having the most potential for IMINT going forward?
The jury is still out there, I would say. We are exploring. We have decided to pursue with a bit more focus the industrial AR segment, because we think that is interesting. It has a lot of sort of market trends speaking in favor of it, especially the lessons from the pandemic. And it's a market that is forecasted a very strong growth. And we have customers already in that market space, like Chinese Rocket and American Realware. But in terms of we keep a broad view on different market verticals, and I think we are extra intrigued when if we find application areas where there is real high value of the application of it being mission critical. So industrial AR fits that very well. AR headset could be used for like in the medical domain as well, for like remote surgery and so on, remote operation of vehicles. All user scenarios where time and money is of the essence, then the value of what we provide is multiple higher than in the consumer market. And other interesting aspects of markets is where we can explore variations of business models. In the consumer space, consumers are used to you pay for your device in the shop and that's it. Apple might succeed with you having paying for iCloud on a subscription basis. But in more industrial systems, especially where you have devices that gather intelligence, like in video or image data, and then you have the whole ecosystem of who is going to use that image data, maybe for advanced security applications or in industrial maintenance and so on. That is really interesting for us because that opens up for new areas where our algorithms can run, not only on the device, but this edge and cloud division of our software is really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm guessing also if your application and the Lifvendahl platform is mission critical, that gives you some sort of pricing power and also stickiness.
Exactly, and the stickiness for these systems is of course much higher than for consumer goods, where you buy it, you use it for 1, 2, 3 years, you toss it away and you buy another one, and with very little brand loyalty.
Yeah.
But of course here, once you're in, and especially if you are in regulated or semi-regulated markets, of course, once you're in, it's a mess to throw things out or change the design.
Yeah.
But of course, the drawback, sales cycles are, of course, longer because of that stickiness. So stickiness has a price in terms of longer sales cycles.
So have you seen any impact on your financials regarding the recent lockdowns in China? You touched upon this briefly before, but if yes, can you tell us more about this and how you expect this to impact your financials for 2022 as whole?
Right. Now, it's hard to forecast, but as the report showed, we were pretty resilient to this decline in China. I think the risks are more for us longer term in terms of relationship with our key customers and partners, where meeting face to face is really helpful to build new business and discover new opportunities. So we've managed very well to keep relationship and projects going, and so we've survived fine. But in the longer run, personally, I'm really hoping for China to open up so that we can travel and meet more.
So IMINT increased personnel costs by 2.3 million SEK year-over-year in the quarter, and you communicated in the report that these costs are expected to rise further. What are your priorities for hiring in the coming years? Is it like R&D, sales, or marketing, and why?
Right, we see that at different phases. This sort of recruitment sprint in the first quarter and still going on. Mainly, the majority goes into product development, but then we also add resources to technical sales and customer support, product integration, and of course product management with Nils Hult as well, to really increase our capabilities. But we decided to start there because we really have a very solid product roadmap, and we want to accelerate that so we get our first launch quicker to the market. We think that time is of the essence here because we see really good opportunities. So in this phase, we prioritize the engineering resources.
And also regarding operational costs and margins, do you think it's possible to maintain the strong EBIT margin of 24% in the long run, even though these personnel costs are expected to increase?
Yeah, it's hard to say. My personal view is that these margin levels in the longer time perspective is absolutely our ambition. In a shorter time horizon, we will prioritize growth over margins because we see there are still really good opportunities and we need to move fast. But the ambition is, of course, to keep us profitable throughout this journey.
So even though you prioritize growth before margins, you still maintain this strong margin. I think it's kind of impressive. Anyways, can you tell us how IMINT collects its revenue today, and if there are any plans to switching some revenues to a more recurring revenue stream in the future?
We are examining that, and it relates to your earlier question on the standard model now with the smartphone industry, where royalties or IP licenses is the default model, and especially royalties, which is a good model for that market, I think, because that means that we share success with our customers if a phone model that does really well. But we are exploring more sticky kind of business models, like subscription models, and that is especially interesting in, I think, more industrial markets, where the device could be just a platform where you could add software on top of it on a subscription basis. And we see some examples of that in the prospects we are talking to. So we're happy to explore that together with lead customers on our side. Probably a long way until we have revenues in line what we are collecting today from the smartphone makers, but we value them more because they are another kind of revenues. They are more recurring and provide better horizon for us.
Yeah, and usually the market does the same thing, right? They value recurring revenue more than other revenue streams.
Exactly.
In general, yeah. So one of IMINT's customers, Xiaomi, is the third largest smartphone manufacturer in the world. Can you share with us how much of your sales is attributable to Xiaomi?
We don't provide per customer revenue splits, but they are a good customer of us and one of our key customers, for sure.
Can you share with us how IMINT's churn regarding smartphone manufacturers has looked like during the past year?
During the past year, I don't think we've had any churn. Some of our smaller customers some of them are successful, some are struggling, so they might go up and down in terms of number of phones they launch and the volumes they are selling. But we haven't lost any customers the last year. Historically, we've been open with that our first big fish customer, Huawei, we are not designing in our software in current Huawei phones.
So have revenues from RealWear and Rockets, as well as other revenue streams outside smartphones, begun to become a meaningful part of your total top line?
I wouldn't say meaningful yet, but the growth potential is certainly there, especially if we can do repeat business. There are many companies like Rocket and RealWear, and we're really orchestrating ourselves to be able to handle many more customers, although they are not as big as your example with Xiaomi and other big smartphone makers, to have a scalable sales model and delivery model. And the partnership we announced with Chinese SimTech is one proof point of that, where we get more hands to help us to find customers and integrate our software, and then of course share a bit of our revenue with them, but that makes us much more scalable.
So can these revenue streams be stated in an approximate percentage of total sales?
They can, but we're not disclosing that figure. Yeah. We are discussing within the board of directors as well on being more open with a long-term target, maybe aiming at 2025 and give some projections on what we believe and what our ambitions are, and that might entail like revenues split per segment type. Yeah. But we haven't done that yet, but we are discussing when is the right timing to do that bold move. So
it has previously been mentioned that you may provide financial guidance for 2024 or 2025. Is this still on the table? And if so, can you share with us when this might happen?
Right, it's very much on the table. I can't give any timeline for when we will make that kind of communication, but it's being discussed, and I think there's broad unity within the management team and board of directors that we are now in such a mature phase of this company that this is the sensible thing to do. However, we are still exploring a lot of new verticals and a lot of new markets, so the uncertainty is still high. So we really don't want to pitch something that we don't feel is well grounded with our own experience talking to lead customers and talking to market players and so on.
So have the talks with Samsung and Unisoc come closer to an agreement?
can't comment on specific deals that is in progress or under discussion.
Can you name any new areas within AR or VR where talks are taking place right now?
Likely we could talk more about that within just a few weeks. We not myself, but some of my colleagues are going over to one of the major industry shows in this segment, the AWE show in California in 2 weeks. A lot of meetings are set up, a lot of discussions are planned to happen, and I think this will help us tremendously to orientate ourselves in that market landscape.
So Andreas, is there anything else you would like to share before we finish the interview?
I think was really good questions. Some of them are familiar from earlier reports, some new, and in general, I really appreciate the interest in our company, and thank to you, Peter, for the nice words on our accomplishments.
Of course, well deserved.
Thank you.
So thank you, Andreas, and good luck going forward.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.